All right, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Talk&Schlock Connection. I'm Chris.
I'm Cory.
All right, today we're talking about it's a legendary. As a child,
this 1989 legendary slasher.
as a child, legendary for the fact that I had seen Evil Dead and stuff, so there was that. So when you see this on the video store shelf, you see Bruce Campbell, the name Bruce Campbell on the cover. You see some Raimi action on the cover, and you're like, "Oh yeah, fucking A!" And little do you know,
the team is back together.
Yeah, I didn't know this when I was a young kid, but apparently they did whatever they could to get you to rent the movie. Not that this is terrible, but this is not what I was expecting
this
it
movie
to be.
Say again, like I just rewatched this movie for the first time in maybe 7 or 8 years. Like I had a lot of fun rewatching it, but the version that I watched is hold up. Fuck did I? Oh, it's right here. I have the the Wizard release old school DVD of it. It is the unrated version of this movie, which is kind of people that know this movie know that's really the only way to watch this movie. It redeems like so many bad aspects of it. Dude, the back of this box, the first thing, it fucking spoils who the killer is. Because it shows a picture of him standing over a dead body. It wrongly names the actress, the lead character in this movie. Her name is Jennifer. It wrongly names, played by Lethal Weapons, Renee Estevez, who is
that's like her
Emilio
friend.
Estevez's sister.
Yeah, it's Emilio. It's like her friend. Yeah,
but she is the movie, but she is not that
She's
character.
Not the main character, right.
But dude, I think you're gonna find this funny, the funniest of all.
Oh shit!
It says like the whole plot, which is basically, if you've never seen this movie, it's basically Friday the 13th in a overnight grocery store, like a place like in Buffalo here it would be like Tops if it were an overnight shift and somebody was killing off the staff one by one.
Right.
Not the most complicated plot in the world. It's like
Nope.
But the funniest line though, dude, funniest line at the end of this, an ex-cop is trying to find out who the killer is and what possessed him to start the bloody rampage. But is this the ex-boyfriend or is it someone else? No, that is not in the fucking movie anywhere.
There is no ex-cop.
Dude, nobody knows.
Nobody knows who's doing the killing except the people in there. Like nobody even knows who's doing the killing. People are just dying.
Well, no, it's just funny because even the guy whose job it was to like animate the back or like do the back of the box, he had to write everything up. He was like, I fucking passed out halfway through the fucking, I don't know, there's a cop in it. I don't fucking know.
Make it interesting.
He's an ex-cop. Fucking, there's a killer somewhere. It's an ex, I don't give shit. Watch the fucking movie.
could be your fucking ex-boyfriend. I don't know.
They're like, we gave you these stills. Just make sure on the back of the box you don't put the one with the guy who's actually the killer standing over like a dead body.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's like, yeah, whatever. I don't give a fucking job.
Put that guy with the blue jeans on the cover.
Yeah. How many? But here's the thing. It's like in the promotional material, it's like how many people in this movie did they think had that hairline of like, the widow's peak and the slick back fucking hair.
Before we go on into the movie, I do want to say a podcast I had a few years ago, we were very close to having that guy as a guest on the podcast.
Dan Hicks.
Yeah. And then
honestly, dude, best character throughout the whole movie. Like,
the guy rules. The guy fucking rules.
Dude, he runs with this shit. Like, he really kind of like makes this movie like, because I mean, certain elements, like we were talking about the gore earlier. If this movie didn't have like the gore, if it didn't have, I don't know, like a certain like odd, quirky charm. And if it didn't have Dan Hicks, it would probably be like a pretty forgettable movie.
Oh,
But
yeah,
a lot of people really fucking like this movie.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, dude, I
Yeah,
don't.
I mean,
It's like, it's not a good movie, but it has some kind of charm, dude. Like, I'll watch it whenever. Like, I don't care. I
yeah,
do like it. I do like it. It's fun.
it's like this movie definitely should not work at all, but it fucking works. Like, it really is a fun watch, especially if you're a fan of like just gory, goofy movies
Yeah.
and like you've never seen it before. Absolutely check this
Oh,
movie out.
definitely. You'll have a lot of fun.
You do have to be careful though. You do have to be careful though. Looking for this one. There's an R-rated version and there's an unrated version.
There's a
Trust me, one.
I think what is probably the definitive version so far, and it's the director's cut. It was put out by Synapse.
Okay.
Well,
I have the.
But yeah.
I watched the unrated director's cut. It had all the gore.
Same shit. I think it's the same. Yeah. But make sure you get it unrated at least.
All right. Again, you said I'm the one.
Take us through.
Sorry, I
okay,
apologize. Man. Anyone listening at home, I have terrible. I just turned the camera off and fucking run away crying. No, but again, this is the story of Jennifer, an overnight cashier at the Walnut Lake Market Center, which is, if you live here in Buffalo like us, it's essentially like Tops, like your basic big chain. Hi, Chris's cat blocking the camera. No, but it's basically the chain of what do you call it? Grocery stores, which typically before the COVID situation would run overnight. In this movie, Jennifer's boyfriend, or her ex-boyfriend, Craig, who recently got out of prison, is paying a visit to the grocery store. And
who looks like every fucking like jerk off dude in the 80s.
He looks like who Kenny Omega got his look from. Like, Kenny Omega was like watching late night TV one night and saw him. He was like, "That's the look I'm looking for."
I mean, Kenny Omega is Kenny Omega is Canadian, so.
All right. Well, Craig comes to visit her on this overnight shift where it's basically like a skeleton crew. It's only about 5 or 6 people, including the 2 managers working this shift. And it turns out Craig is kind of an asshole. He immediately starts harassing her.
No way.
Demanding that he basically is why the Me Too movement was invented in the first place.
He's a little pushy.
Just a little bit. Just demanding why she hasn't talked to him in the 8 months since he's been in prison.
Not in prison
again, though. Yeah, man. Apparently, he went to prison for getting into a bar fight where apparently the man insulted his haircut or his weird greaser look in the early 90s. Anyways, the 2 managers, one of them is Bill. The other one, he looks a lot like David Cronenberg. I did not remember his name. Sorry, I didn't know I was walking through this one. Both good managers though, because immediately male members of the staff come in and try to join in the fight unsuccessfully. It's kind of funny because I wanted to talk about the fight choreography in this movie a little bit.
Okay.
The fight choreography basically consists of you see the camera here, the person throwing the punch and the person reacting to the punch, like falling immediately backwards. And the funny thing about this, I immediately before this I was rewatching Daredevil, because I haven't seen it since it like first came off, like the first season of the TV show Daredevil. And I compared for some reason in my mind, I was comparing like the brilliant like fight choreography in that show to the fight choreography in this opening fucking fight scene in the fucking grocery store.
Okay.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's just such a vast departure to go from like one extreme to another. And the one who
Right,
took
right.
the one who takes worst bump in this whole fucking in this whole fight is Sam Raimi himself. Sam Raimi gets like put into like a Tasmanian choke and thrown into like a whole thing of cans that are
Oh
like all
yeah,
stacked
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah. Oh
after
my
the
goodness.
staff after the staff overpowers Greg, the asshole lunatic ex-boyfriend Kenny Omega impersonator of uh
I like how
Jennifer.
they're
Sorry,
like
I already
they're
forgot her
like
fucking name.
get out of here, and they push him out the
Get
door
out of
and they lock that
get
flimsy
the fuck
fucking door up.
he just has I just like his like tough guy like gaze afterwards. He's like,
But
yeah, but I'll be back.
like if he really wanted to be in there, he could have walked right back in when they threw him out. He just kind of stood there while they locked the door.
I don't I don't get here's what I don't get either too. Did he just come straight from prison or
Why is he so upset? Like he could have just waited for her to get off work. They could have had a nice chat.
there's a million ways Craig could have gone about this differently. And
Yeah.
like had more successful results, not
Very,
resulting in
yeah.
the entire staff of the restaurant getting in a fight with him. Anyways, next scene, the members are basically saying, "Hey, good job the way you all handled that," even though they really did not. Uh,
Oh. They
uh,
got handled.
but it turns out this grocery store, by the first of the end of the month, is about to be sold and closed down and turn into the owners don't even know what.
Yeah.
There are two owners. One is Dan. Again, he's kind of the more working man kind of manager. Obviously, has a better relationship with all like the younger employees. He seems to be like well liked among them, even though
He's
he's must be around like 45
he's
or like 45, 50. You know what I
he's
mean?
he's Dan Bean.
Basically, yeah. Hey, Dan Bean, if you're watching, shout out.
Dan Bean, you're in a movie. I
Dan
love
Bean,
it.
Dan Bean just shows up at our job.
What if he just what if he just
Hey.
what if he just shows up? What if he just shows up at our job one day? He just shows up. They're like,
He
I'm like,
brushes past the servers.
they're like, oh, you hired this guy? They're like,
Hey guys.
they're like, we're like, you hired him? They're like, what are you talking about? Who? He's just back there, like he's back there making contraptions to be able to clean things easier.
We don't recognize him at first. We're like, sir, you can't be. Oh shit.
Oh shit, it's him.
Oh my. Hi. You just like wish there was like a silent alarm underneath. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Again, Bill, the like kind of middle manager. He makes a comment that the store is actually co-owned between him and the older manager.
Oh yeah, like
But
51-49.
but yeah, but he has 49. The other guy has 51. He
Yeah.
had it his way. The store would not be closing because obviously all the employees like working there,
Yeah.
they've kind of formed their own bond. Each one is kind of like a caricature of every like 80s teen movie, 80s slasher movie.
Yeah.
Nothing a lot new here.
No.
I'll definitely get into one character. I'll get into one character that annoyed the living fucking shit out of me just on the way he talked. But no,
Can't wait.
again, they all go about their jobs, or go about their jobs for this overnight shift. Again, they're all a little bummed out, but this is where you get a little character development, if any, between any of these characters, when you see them like interact with each other. You do see though that the two managers though, especially Bill in that one scene where the one girl was ringing the silent alarm when Craig was harassing
Yeah.
the one girl. Like he's the guy who plays Bill, Dan Hicks. He's like, we should definitely check on that, see if they're all right. And he's the one that actually does do it. In the long run, ends up again. You kind of get the idea why these kids like kind of like him.
Yeah.
But he's like the likable manager of them. The one guy looks like David Cronenberg, aged a couple years, I would say.
But
that again,
that guy's not like a big part of it. He kind of just in that office the whole movie.
He's just kind of a stereotypical asshole man. You know what I mean? Like asshole manager type, like, or boss, like, because he's rude to Dan Hicks too in that one scene where he's like
whatever, man, we're gonna cash out.
Dude even takes a photo of the two of them off the wall, just throws in the garbage. It's like, that's a wee bit unnecessary. You just took away the man's livelihood. You can ease up on that.
Like, damn, they didn't even close the place yet. You're throwing the pictures out.
Yeah. But again, I forgot to mention earlier, Craig escaped into the store during this.
Yes.
The whole crew is looking for him. He could be anywhere. He's like the wind with a mullet. He's very sorry. The thing is, though, too, we're introduced to the character Bud, who is my fucking, or I can't remember if his name is Bub or Bud. I think it might be Bub. Imagine if Spicoli, trying to think, Bill and Ted and Pauly Shore all like came in one person. It's basically Bub. Just the way he talks is obnoxious. A character named Ted, who is not worth mentioning again, because in the next scene he's basically, killed. Scares our lead character by grabbing her by the arm through a stack of or through a row of beer cans from one side to the other on a shelf.
Yeah.
And again, like, this guy immediately shows up, Bub, and he's like, "You're such a dick, Ted. God, this is so typical of you." And dude, you can tell like the other actors in the scene are not taking his fucking like delivery seriously at all. One actor even like makes fun of it, like at one point. Like he's I forgot, at the end of the scene he's like, "Yeah, I'm going over here," and he's like, "Are you going over there?" Just again though, these whole middle scenes that like make this up, like, you meet what's her face, Jennifer, a little bit better, and you meet the character Dave, he kind of looks like Jefferson from Married with Children, like a younger version of him, like the guy from fucking like Revenge of the Nerds too, you know what I mean, like has like that, I know what you mean. Whatever,
that goofy haircut. Yes.
Yeah. He I guess they have kind of like a awkward like love connection or whatever. Like, she found out recently and earlier in the movie that he's single, and again, dude, that's about all the development you get these characters.
Everyone else is
there's a
fodder.
Scene where they really are. There's really nothing to be put into this movie. But there is a scene where I gotta make this podcast interesting. What do you call it though? There's a scene though where they're flirting, and Dan Hicks comes in, and he tells Dave to start restocking the one shelf with pineapple and beans, and they makes a comment where they're like, "Why the fuck do you want those on the same shelf?" And he's like, "I think I'm gonna call it my fart blossom special." It's like, what the fuck is the fucking point of this like scene? Like, that it was all leading up to that one joke. Anyways, what did you take away from any of these little mid-credit scenes here? Shit, dude, I think your audio went off.
There you go.
Nothing.
I knew what I was going. I mean, if you'd seen I'd seen this movie before, so I was just waiting for the good shit.
Yeah, the last half hour. I know I've blabbered on about like the first like few scenes of this movie, and they don't sound interesting because they aren't.
They
It's not a
aren't.
very.
No,
They
no.
are not.
We're here for
Uh,
one. We're here for one thing.
yes. Again, this movie, Sam Raimi and Scott Spiegel, the team that brought you Evil Dead. Just to give you a little perspective, Sam Raimi was the Jordan Peele of that duo. He went on to make like Spider-Man, and Scott Spiegel went on to make this and the direct-to-video sequel to From Dusk Till Dawn, Texas Blood Money. Just to give you a
Hey,
perspective of where their careers
hey,
went after.
that's got Danny. That's got Danny Trejo in it. Okay.
It does, and another funny thing, it also has Bruce Campbell on the front cover and like fully highlighted, even though he's only in the movie for about less than a minute.
He's consistent, right? He's consistent.
He is. I mean, he knows his he knows his audience. But again, though, this is when the movie really kicks into high gear.
Yeah.
Basically, an off-screen slasher who we only see in silhouette starts murdering the employees one by one. Again, if you think I skipped past anything, I really haven't.
You didn't.
We go right into this.
It's literally aimless talking for the first half of the movie to get to the point where we're at now, the killing.
Yes, and quite frankly, the kills range between typical to holy shit, what the fuck did I just see? We start off with Ted Raimi's character, or no, I'm sorry, Emilio Estevez's sister.
Renee.
What's her name?
Renee Estevez.
Sleepaway Camp 2 chick, who was wrongly identified as the lead girl on the back of the DVD box. She is she's loading groceries into the trunk of her car, closes the trunk. She is stabbed by a silhouette off screen. Not particularly interesting there. Right. We then move on to Ted Raimi's character, who we didn't mention before, but plays the nerdy stock boy who might also be a pedophile. I mean, it's like every it's like every Ted Raimi.
I'm not really sure what he was doing to that watermelon. Like, he cut it in half, then he's stabbing it in the middle, he's ripping chunks out, he's like, oh.
It's like, I feel like every Ted Raimi character, like, you can, if you had to describe it, like, you would just say what it is, like, shop worker, stock clerk, blah blah blah. But you would have to always put in parentheses, might also be on a predatory watch list. Like,
dude, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what movie it was, but it always makes me laugh. It's like it's definitely like a horror exploitation movie, and he's like a bathroom attendant, and he hands out like condoms in the movie. I can't remember what fucking movie it is though, but like it's like. He's just there, and he just handing out condoms in the men's bathroom. I don't know. I can't for the life of me remember.
He's kind of. Do you think he's kind of like the Clint Howard to Sam Raimi's Ron Howard?
Yeah,
he just puts him.
Definitely.
It's like
probably. It's always fun.
Better
it's always fun seeing him in like a little bit role. Good. You know what I mean?
And he gets a pretty cool kill scene in this. It's shown like from my perspective. He's wearing headphones. Killer comes in with a meat cleaver directly through the forehead, and not very graphic, but you see like the headphones split in half. You see him like at the floor. not a bad kill scene. Again, I do not have these all written down.
That's okay.
Like,
my favorite.
I'm just gonna go with what I remember.
My favorite kill is the bandsaw. The old bandsaw kill.
Are you talking about the
through
this?
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, so we might as well talk about Dave here. Dave does not leave this movie with his dignity at all. No. He dies. Again, to remind you who Dave is, he's the potential love interest for the lead character, Kristen.
Yep.
If I'm even remembering her name right.
Jennifer.
Again,
Jennifer.
or Jennifer, Kristen. I'm fucking
Whatever that
again.
whatever that bitch's name is.
Trust me, if you watch this movie, you will not remember their fucking names as you are watching it either. But no, he gets distracted by a noise, climbs into the attic stock of the area, finds the older manager of the place who has had his eye impaled by a paper posted stamp
thing,
or whatever, gets his head directly in there. Still alive. It looks like he got killed when it happened. But apparently the killer just has him wandering up here. He sees him face to face. Dave, our presumed male, like, or equivalent to a male lead in this movie, begins to scream like Roger Rabbit. Starts banging on the window to alert Kristen. And that is his plan until he is overpowered by the off-screen killer. The off-screen killer overpowers him by swinging on a conveyor belt like Spider-Man and kicking him, who he then brings him to, again, like you said, a bandsaw, while he screams about as femininely, or it's about as effeminately as a man can scream as he's being dragged to the bandsaw. Just screams, no! Just gives no fight at all, by the way.
Just lets it happen. This movie is... Everyone that gets killed, everyone that gets killed just lets it happen.
No! It's every character in this movie is that guy from Friday the 13th Part 4 who gets killed in the basement. He's killing me.
Oh, God.
He gives no fight.
Oh,
that's God. Every character. And I mean, to an extent, the movie, I guess, gives a fucking good idea of like not showing who the killer is through silhouette, even though you kind of can easily tell who it is. And again, I know me and you have blabbered on through this podcast, not making a lot of sense.
Well, this is kind of what this movie is.
Neither does this movie. Again, he gets killed. The character who I said I hate, who sounded like Pauly Shore mixed with Pete Davidson, he gets his head crushed by a compactor. Again, the kill scenes in this movie are basically the highlight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you know, you're not watching this movie obviously for any character development, and the fact that it's
you are, then you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, you should watch that R-rated version. It cuts out all those distracting, gory scenes.
Pesky gore.
Basically, almost everybody in the restaurant, everybody in the store is killed, except for our lead girl, Kristen. She's running around the store, finding all the dead bodies. She finds our male lead. His head undignified. Dude, seriously, like he didn't even like prop his corpse with dignity. He just like put his top head of his skull sideways so it just looks like he's screaming in agony. Horrible what they did to Dave in this
and we get the big reveal.
But we get the big reveal.
Reveal. Yeah, the reveal.
The reveal. God, I know. It turns out Dan Hicks' character, he's also survived. Earlier in the movie, he got into a altercation when it turned out Craig was still hanging out outside the grocery store.
Turns out Craig was the smartest dude in this movie.
I guess, but without obviously with me describing this, you know exactly where this is going. Dan, he's the killer. Fucking Dan Hicks.
It's on the back of the box.
Bill, it's on the back of the box. It's not they don't even hide it well in silhouette that nobody else in the movie has his hairline or wearing his shirt. It wasn't Craig. We're supposed to be rooting at the end of this movie for Craig, the violent ex-boyfriend who in the movie grabbed Kristen by the neck and smacked her, told her best friend to shut the fuck up and stay out of it. He's our hero now.
That's our guy. Big piece of shit.
That's who we're with now. Oh God, I'm still with Dan Hicks though. If you're wondering though, Dan Hicks' motive is he took Craig coming into the store and starting a violent altercation as a motive to kill everybody in the store so they wouldn't have to sell it. He could be full-time manager. It really makes no sense, but he summarizes it with, "You might say I'm crazy about this store."
The best line in the movie.
The best line in the fucking movie.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, he could have killed the other guy and made it look like an accident or something. But fuck it, go all the way.
Decided to turn it into a massacre.
Yeah, go off, buddy. Go off.
Oh man, I wish it made more sense. It does not. But he sells it for what it's worth. They get into a altercation. She gets away. She's hiding. This movie has a very bizarre sense of what tension in these kind of scenes are, because they are not very tense at all. They're more distracting and goofy, if anything. The standout though in these chase scenes though between Dan, I'm already for what is his name? Bill. Sorry, I'm gonna call him Dan Hicks.
I believe so.
This.
Bill and Jennifer.
She hears somebody moaning and looks over and sees the manager, the other manager who's been poked in the eye.
He's still alive,
going around here, half alive. Turns out he's not alive, actually. She hears moaning, sees his head, turns around, sees it's Dan Hicks holding the severed head of the manager, using it as a puppet. And again, like if this were any other horror movie, this would be a quick, like, like, oh, say a one-liner gag, whatever. No, I timed it out. It goes on this scene for 47 seconds before the Kristen character reacts, and it's you literally see even Dan Hicks getting bored with this gag because he points it out. He's like, "Hey, what do you?" He says like a line with it or whatever. He's like, "Hi, what do you think about this?" And then it cuts to her, cuts to him again, cuts to a shot of like the both of them, like a silhouette scene, cuts to her again, cuts to him again, holding the scene and being like, looking at the head, being like, yeah, right, like we're still here doing this shot, before she finally reacts by gently gouging him with the knife. It's a bizarre scene to watch in a bizarre movie. Like this movie, to its credit, constantly out bizarres itself. It just gets more odd as it goes on.
For as bad as it is, it keeps you watching, which is fine.
I mean, it's again, like the characters are bad, very poorly written.
Yeah,
you do not see the Sam Raimi in this movie that you saw in like other movies he's produced. Or even if he was a producer, I think he did start in this, right?
This is very much a Scott Spiegel movie.
Yeah, this has Scott Spiegel.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we get the Scott Spiegel that we saw in the shopping cart scene. Shopping. That's what Scott Spiegel is. Shopping cart Sam Raimi.
So how does this one wrap up?
Jesus Christ, this movie wraps up. There's an altercation. Craig comes back. He's our hero now. There's a fight between him, her, and Bill Hicks and Bill. I just said Bill Hicks. Fucking the character Bill. Sorry, who cares at this point? Get the character Bill, and they get into a fight inside a inside a phone booth where she has just called the cops, say they're on their way. He gets the upper hand. Craig comes from behind, starts whacking away at old Bill with the machete or the hatchet, meat cleaver, whatever the fuck it was. Neither of us really remember it. This movie is wildly forgettable.
The piece of shit hero.
Piece of shit. Our piece of shit hero gets the upper hand. And finally, we get our main star of the movie about 90 minutes in, Bruce Campbell, playing the cop at the end of this movie.
The guy,
somebody who's
the box cover guy.
you put a gun to my head right now, I could not describe to you the person standing next to him because I was waiting that long for Bruce Campbell to actually come to this movie. They show up, immediately think that Kristen and Craig are the killers. You cut
Dumbest
to
cops. The fucking cops are so dumb.
you cut to Bill, who the killer in this movie, who's basically half alive, looking at the looking at everything going on, saying, "Oh yeah, it was him." Like, it's like,
I believe
like
him.
the non-sincere laugh, and he's still half alive. And this is how this fucking weird ass movie ends. He's laughing. You think he dies, comes to as they're being arrested for all the murders that happened in this movie, and he's laying there dead. He comes to for a second because
Why not?
there was no suspense to that, or he just closed his eyes for a second. It's like, oh no, I'm awake.
I ain't dead.
And then oh no, wait, I think I'm dead. This it cuts to Kristen screaming, and it cuts into her in a few shots screaming. That's how this fucking movie ends.
Cool.
If that I really hope anyone who actually like watches this have seen this movie before, and maybe it will make a little sense the way I described it.
Right. I mean, it
again,
just doesn't really make much sense as it is.
It doesn't. I did my best.
You tried.
This movie.
You did a good job, buddy.
You did a good job, Corey.
What, Corey? You did a good job.
I mean, for Christ's sake, I think you did good.
What do you give this one? What do you?
I'd put it up a point like higher than I would a usual movie of this, just because of the kills and the gore, which is, or again, like we said a million times, like the only reason to watch is. I'll put it at like a 6 out of 10. Like it wasn't like it wasn't like so bad it's good, kind of like Neon Maniacs, like
Yeah,
you were laughing the whole time through. Like
this
was more just like bad acting. Like
just bad.
I
give it like a 5. It's middle of the road for me. Like it's
that's
like
what, again, like that's as a movie I'd give it that, but just the gore kind of just elevates it up to 6, which is why like it's worth remembering or worth checking out. Like, but it's definitely like one of those movies. It's make or break though with the unrated versus the regular R-rated.
Definitely. So what are we doing next?
I don't know, man. I know we like listed like Psycho Cop 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Vamp, another one. Like,
let's do Psycho Cop 2.
Yeah. All right.
that one's so much more fun, dude. So much more fun.
Yes, dude. Psycho Cop.
It's just as ridiculous as this.
From the director of Detroit Rock City, too. Also.
Oh, yo, I gotta tell you a story. So I was like scrolling through Twitter, and somebody that I follow was like talking about Psycho Cop 2, and the director like commented on it, and then and then I wrote, hey, didn't Joe Vickers go into refrigeration later in life? And then he commented with like a laughing emoji. Because he's fucking Bob Vance from The Office.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. Adam Rifkin, like he had like a beard and like long hair. He looked like the guy who taught me bass at the local mall. I was like 14. The guy that couldn't get out of like 1986.
This is gonna be a fun one, dude. This movie is it's out there. And the ending is way out there.
This was fun dicking around with too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This has been me. It's been Chris. It's been Chris's cat.
Yeah, my cat is making appearances. That was Intruder, and we're gonna see you next week. We're gonna see you next week for the for Psycho Cop 2. Until then,
Psycho Cop. Oh yeah.
enjoy this.